Welcome back. It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined again by Jesse Urquidi. He is the president of the Norwalk La Mirada Unified School Board. And so I thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to speak with you about public school funding. As we know, over the last few years, Governor Brown has been very clear that he would like to see funding for K-12 be restored to pre-recession levels. If we're not there yet, we're pretty darn close.
Well, we're very close.
Yeah, yes. And so talk to me about how these last few years have been. I mean, really, you've lived it because you got elected in 2011 at
Correct.
the worst of worst times, and now you're almost at the best of best.
Right. I'll say, Brad, within all of that support from the governor, he's also given us a lot of rules to come by with the local control funding formula, the local control accountability plans.
But rules, though, that allow you more discretion
That is
on
correct.
how to spend your money.
That is correct, yes.
And so let's combine those two. You have more money and more discretion.
Correct.
What are y'all doing with all that money?
A lot of it is, like I think we talked about before, is putting into professional development with teachers and the SBAC, trying to come up with new ways of linked learning for CTE and some career grants to help our students succeed.
And when you say SBAC and CTE, let's try to define that for our viewers.
The smart
balance assessment. And what that is essentially is that under Common Core, with the way we are testing students, standardized test-wise, very different than it was before.
Absolutely.
It's adaptive, it's deeper than it was before, and so you have continuing teacher education, as you described. How is that all going? I mean, look, standardized testing, are we even doing it this year, or did we even do it this year?
Yes, we did, but we haven't seen the results yet. We're about to see them any day now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are the results going to be released to the public? Or is it
I don't know. I can find that out for you.
It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all
I
good.
know we're going to be seeing them at the board level. And I can only assume, I'd be advocate to put it out there at the public level. But with the understanding, it's the first time we're doing it.
Right.
So a lot of people would see where the PD came in, where the parents are involved, how the students adapted to the new testing and the new California state standard, which is Common Core's name now.
Why?
It's just what the California the State Board of Education came up with.
Right.
They didn't want to call it Common Core anymore, so now it's called the California State Standard.
Which really begs the question, I'm not sure if we spoke about this before. I've had the good fortune with Mark, who's here as well, to travel around the country and go to different state capitals and interview members of state legislatures, educators like yourself. And Common Core is a topic of discussion. And in some states, Common Core is a dirty word. In other states, it's not. California seems to be a state where it's really not a dirty word. I mean, I ask educator after educator, are you getting complaints about Common Core? And they're saying no one's talking about it.
Yeah. I would say the deeper down you go, you're going to hear some complaints.
Okay.
I've had some complaints from my parents, but then at the end of the day, they trust in the teachers and the professional development. Our district is providing, and they get over that hump. So, but there is some negativity about it a little bit, but in California, I would totally agree with you. At the state level, it's not a bad word.
And how are the kids doing? And I specifically want to ask about kids kind of 6th to 8th grade. So, the high school kids, it's probably a little late to try to change the way we educate. Elementary school, we can probably do that. But in junior high, how are they adapting?
I think they're adapting, number one, to the forms of the testing and the logistics in the testing. Now, I can't speak exactly to how they've come down with the rigor.
I understand.
But the logistics of the testing and how the teachers are putting it together, and the times of testing, along with how the teachers are implementing, along with the principals, the administrators in our entire district, with the support of technology. I think we've had a very, very fair transition.
At the same time that there is more funding to schools, although I don't want to say all that money, but it's better than it used to be. More discretion how to spend your dollars. In Norwalk La Mirada, your voters passed Measure G.
Yes.
Which is a construction bond, is that right?
Yes.
So it's an exciting time to be in Norwalk La Mirada right now because you have more funding for this classroom and more funding to construct.
Correct.
So talk to us about Project G as an example of how any school district could spend construction funds.
Sure, Measure G was a $375 million bond. We've had about 8 months to put the program together. We've selected the architects, we've selected the construction management firms, and now we're looking at getting the startup projects together. And we're looking at a lot of startup project that the community can see, like some marquees, some furniture, curbside credibility, if you will, because there's also another agency called the DSA, the Department of State Architect, where a lot of the plans have to go through there, and it takes a little bit of time for them to come back. But in the meantime, these other projects don't have to go through DSA. And we can move them a little quicker.
I want to ask, if I may, I'm not sure if you're up on this topic, but the question of a school construction bond statewide.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, I'm not surprised you are up on this topic, because we know that members of the state legislature, both Democrats and Republicans, have been pushing to put a school construction bond statewide on the ballot. Governor Brown seems to be opposed. We thought it was going to be on the ballot in 2014.
Right.
He used his might to have it pulled.
He made a phone call.
He
killed it.
He killed it. So more discussion about putting one on the ballot maybe for next cycle.
2016.
Yeah. What do you make of this?
There's a movement right now where, from what I understand, there's a coalition of CSBA, the Coalition for Adequate School Housing.
Right.
They gathered enough signatures to where they were actually able to get it on the ballot for 2016.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
So what Governor Brown is saying is, look, we have lowered the threshold whereby local districts can pass bond measures by themselves,
Correct.
55%.
Correct.
Let the locals do it. We don't need a statewide construction bond for schools. As it is, it's too bureaucratic, it's too elaborate, it's just easier to let the locals do it themselves. What do you make of that argument?
That argument, I would say he should look back to 2001 through 2004, where there was an earlier state bond that passed, and we were able to leverage our dollars with the help from the state to where 50% would be paid by the state, 50% would come from our bond monies, and instead of having $375 million, we could stretch it out to $475 million.
I see.
Based upon the qualified projects that we got from the state.
So do you feel as if your voters, state voters, would be amenable to being generous in passing a statewide school construction bond?
I think they would. I think they would. They passed a water bond, which
That's
the
true.
governor was very, very supportive of. And
But
I understand
we
that
don't
now.
know if he'll be supportive of a school construction bond.
Yeah, that kind of goes, in my opinion, to the circumstance of the legislation at the legislators' status at the time. The rest of them were being termed out in 2014.
Right. Well stated. I want to talk about something that's unique to your district, at least at this moment in time, but applies everywhere, and that's the hiring of a new superintendent.
Yes.
Which is always, or not always, but can be controversial.
Yes.
Talk to us about the process, how you handled it at Norwalk La Mirada.
Right. I came in as board president in December, and we recalled our old superintendent from 5 years earlier.
Really?
Yes, she came back.
You brought her back out of retirement?
Out of retirement. You know, she was kind of, she was restless anyway, and she was happy to come back.
Was the incumbent, did that person retire?
No,
or?
Dr. Perez was hired by LA Unified.
Ah, nice.
So she's now actually the deputy superintendent at LA Unified.
So it's a nice move for her.
Right. And we were very accepting of that. And some of us wanted to hire someone very quickly, and some of us wanted to take a long time. Some of us wanted to go outside the state. Some of us wanted to only stay inside the state. So as a board, we compromised. Okay, let's stretch it out from January to May, and we'll only hire within California because of LCAP and LCFF.
Oh, you wanted them to know the ropes.
That is correct.
And so was it tricky to bring someone back?
No, she knew the district anyway. A lot of employees still knew her. And if I may, I can just tell everybody who we hired.
Yes.
Dr. Hosmik Danielian. She was a sitting superintendent in Brawley Union High School District for 4 years. Her experience was she was also in Hacienda La Puente. She's a graduate of USC, and she brings a lot of new energy to the district, and she's a very engaging person.
So she had not retired.
No.
She went somewhere else.
That's correct.
And you lured her back home.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ginger came back for the previous part. Dr. Donnelly is now the brand new superintendent who started July 1st.
I understand.
Yes.
I understand. Okay, well, I congratulate you
Thank you
on finding a new superintendent, and best of luck as we start a new school year. I know it's an exciting time. You yourself have a first grader going to Norwalk La Mirada, so that's a great time to be a dad as well as a school board member. Our guest has been Jesse Urquidi, member of the Norwalk La Mirada School District. I'm Brad Pomerance's Charter Local Edition.